Tigers are back, baby. What a start to the week. 3-game sweep with the Diamondbacks. The trade deadline's here. What's going on? What do we have to look forward to? We'll talk about that on the Motor City Sports Podcast. Hello and welcome to the Motor City Sports Podcast, your home for discussing all things Detroit sports. I am your host, Lee Mosierak, and as always, I'd like to thank all of you for joining me today. It is Thursday. It is trade deadline Thursday in Major League Baseball, and I have to admit I am recording this on Wednesday night, so by the time this drops in 12 hours, there might be all kinds of things going on in the world of professional baseball. For today, we're mostly going to stick to the Tigers, talk about how the Tigers' week, things have really turned around. It's looking a whole lot better than it was 1 week ago today. Sunday night was a good start, and then Monday through Wednesday has just been great. The boys get an off day here on Thursday before the weekend series with potentially a new piece or two. The Lions do start preseason here tonight, Thursday night, the Hall of Fame game in Canton. We'll talk about that real briefly, but not a whole lot to talk about at this point. So we'll stick to mostly the Tigers today. That'll keep us busy. It'll be a fairly short episode for the Thursday round here. But first, before we get started, need to remind everyone that today's episode is brought to you by Grosse Pointe Spine Center, where they use non-surgical spinal decompression to treat patients suffering from chronic neck pain, chronic back pain, and sciatica caused by herniated discs, bulging discs, and degenerative disc disease. If you're in the Metro Detroit area and you're in need of pain relief, call at 313-332-0388 or go online at grossepointespincenter.com. All right, let's get into things here. What a week for the Tigers, right? We talked on Monday's episode about Sunday, how things were starting to turn around. Kerry Carpenter joined the team on Sunday. The offense looked a little different, but maybe it was just one good game, right? But 1 week earlier, they had one great game with Tarek Skubal on the mound, and then they lost a bunch in a row again. So was Sunday just another fluke, or was it a sign of things to come? And on Monday, we got our answer. Now, I will admit, this week was against the Arizona Diamondbacks, who are not a great team already. They're offloading pieces, so that makes them maybe even weaker. But the Pittsburgh Pirates aren't exactly the greatest team in baseball either, and they made the Tigers look pretty bad a week earlier. I'll take any kind of victory, any kind of streak, anything we can hang our hat on just to get things looking kind of normal again. And that's what's happened this week. We'll kind of take it game by game here and then wrap up with some thoughts at the end. Monday's game against the Diamondbacks, we get a win 5-1. Little piece of me loved that game a little bit more because it was against former Detroit Tiger Erod, who I don't dislike former players that often, but something about his tenure in Detroit always kind of bothered me. It was a signing we were looking forward to at a time that we thought the team was really going to make a turn for the better again. Things didn't work out well. He didn't pitch great at the beginning. Then he missed a whole lot of time for personal reasons. And then came an opportunity for the Tigers to trade him to get a piece back. He voided the trade, which of course is his right to do so with his no trade clause. Just always seems weird to me, right? You're being asked to go play somewhere for a World Series for a month, and instead you want to block that and kind of stick it to the team you're on just to ride out another month of a not great baseball team. And sure enough, he blocked the trade, opted out of his contract in the offseason, so we got nothing for him, and we didn't get him back. And that just always really kind of bugged me, rubbed me the wrong way. So seeing him on the mound on Monday night and seeing the Tigers put up 8 hits and 5 runs over 6 innings was music to my ears. Andy Ibanez was back. Kind of a weird day, right? We got the news that Parker Meadows was going down. We get the news that Reese Olson's hurt. Just kind of a rough day with injuries. But then we get the call that Andy Ibanez is coming back just in time to face left-handed Eduardo Rodriguez. And Andy Ibanez did what stereotypical Andy Ibanez does against left-handed pitching. Gets a double, gets a home run, 2 for 4 that day. Looked great. Dylan Dingler, 3 for 4 with a home run. Spencer Torkelson, 2 for 4. And that's important to know because if you remember on Monday's podcast, I talked about how the team had been looking since the All-Star break. And really, Spencer Torkelson and Dylan Dingler were the two that really kind of stuck out as positives. And Jake Rogers had been 3 for 10 as well. And those two were still hot here as we hit Monday. Great. Vierling gets another hit, and I've mentioned he's had hits in most games since the All-Star break. So while he's not going 3 for 4 with a home run and a double, he seems to be pecking away, always getting a hit, getting an RBI. Javi Baez also had a base hit and an RBI. So the offense finally showed some life. 5 runs. Was it 10 runs? No, but 5 runs, the way this offense has been playing lately, that is awesome. And Troy Melton on the mound, we just knew that after his first start, we talked about how first couple innings were rough. but he kind of figured it out. It seemed like in the third, fourth, fifth inning of that start was looking a lot better. I think it was maybe just nerves, jitters, that first outing against the Pirates that kind of bit him a little bit. But he kind of found his groove, and it really showed on Monday. It looked phenomenal. 7 innings, 5 hits, no earned runs, 5 strikeouts. Just a tremendous outing at a time that we needed it. Reese Olson's going down. Jackson Job's gone. We'll talk about Casey Mize in a little bit. Jack Flaherty can have starts like he had this weekend, or he can have starts like the few before it. So we have Tarek Scuba, who we know we can trust, but really we're trying to accumulate as many arms as we can to see who we're going to be able to lean on come playoff time. Tommy Kahnle comes in. Another rough outing for Tommy. 1 inning pitched, 1 earned run. It wasn't a big deal. We were up. We had 5 runs at the time. Will Vest comes in, shuts him down in the 9th inning. Those 2 guys are hopefully our 8, 9 end of game guys. If we get 7 innings from our starting pitcher and we have the lead, we hope we turn it over to Tommy Kahnle and Will Vest, and it's game, set, match. Unfortunately, recently, Tommy Kahnle's been struggling, and we'll talk about that more in a few minutes. But hey, they win the game 5-1, 2 wins in a row for the first time since early July, when they had won like 5 games in a row up through July 8th. But since July 8th, they might get a win, but that was it, not even getting 2 in a row. So then we get to Tuesday's game against the Diamondbacks, and holy cow, did the offense show up. 12-2 victory. Andy Ibanez again gets a couple hits and an RBI. Gleyber Torres, another home run. So I mentioned on Monday's podcast, referencing Gleyber's home run on Sunday, and how Kerry Carpenter being in this lineup means so much more than what Kerry Carpenter does. It makes the rest of the lineup more dangerous. And Gleyber Torres is the perfect example of that. I mentioned he gets that home run on Sunday. Max Scherzer knew Kerry Carpenter was sitting behind him. He wasn't going to walk Gleyber Torres and put bases loaded for Kerry Carpenter, so he got a little too cute. Gleyber Torres gets the 3-run home run. And here we are now on Tuesday night. Gleyber Torres is up again. Kerry Carpenter's on deck. He gets a pitch he can hit, drives, another home run for Gleyber Torres. Kerry Carpenter 3 for 5 that game. Riley Green 3 for 5 with a home run, 3 RBIs. Wenzel Perez had that great game, right? 3 for 5. He had a single, a double, a triple, 2 stolen bases, 4 runs, just a home run shy of the cycle. Zach McKinstry with a home run, 4 RBI. Dylan Dingler again, 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs. Again, Torque and Dingler keep racking up these hits. They keep looking good. And in that game, everyone did, right? As far as offense goes, I pointed this out on Monday's podcast. I put it out on social media a couple times. The Tigers were 53-32, 21 games above 500 when Kerry Carpenter went down with injury. They were 7-14 over the next 21 games. So am I to believe that 53-32 was a smokescreen, and then one of their 3 or 4 most special hitters gets hurt and they go on a slump? That's reality? No. To me, it makes sense. We get Kerry Carpenter back. We're 3-0 with Kerry Carpenter at this point. Gleyber Torres hitting in front of Kerry in 2 games, has 2 home runs, a home run in each game. Because obviously Kerry didn't play on the Monday game against the lefty Erod. So big win, 12-2. Looks like it was a total dominate, no doubter the whole time, right? But it was a little scary at the beginning of the game. Casey Mize struggled. Didn't even get out of the second inning. 3 hits. Only gave up 1 earned run. It felt really scary at times. It bases loaded in the first inning. Gets into more trouble in the second inning. 3 walks, but gets out of there. They bring in Herder, and he just shuts it down. Goes 3 1/3 innings pitch. Only gives up 1 hit. Gets 3 strikeouts. Great outing for her. Herder. He's just great at eating up the innings. Chase Lee comes in, does well. Looked a little shaky for a minute, but 1 inning pitch, 1 hit, 1 walk. Gets out of there with no runs. Tyler Holton's looking stronger and stronger. He comes in, gets an inning, 2 strikeouts. Luke Jackson, good for him. His first outing with the team there, a few games, or I think it was Sunday's game, little shaky, little rough. Comes in Tuesday, gets 2 innings, no hits, no earned runs, no walks, 2 strikeouts. Great, clean outing. What we need to see from him as a guy that can kind of gobble up some innings. So here we are now. We're on a nice little winning streak, 3 games in a row, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Again, first time we've won multiple games in a row in several weeks, since about a week or so right after Kerry went down. Takes us to the day game on Wednesday. Great game again. Tigers won 7-2. Colt Keith 3 for 3 really breaks out of it, which is good. Colt had a really strong stretch leading into the All-Star break. He'd struggled the week and a half or so since the All-Star break. Great to see him get 3 hits today with an RBI. Kerry Carpenter in that lineup again gets a triple. Makes me nervous. I'll be honest, seeing him leg out a triple, that's what put us in the situation we were in before. But it looks like his hamstring held up fine. No issues there. crushes a home run, 3 RBIs on the day. Riley Green, a couple of hits. Zach with another RBI. Jake Rogers, good for him, 1 for 4 with a home run. And again, like I mentioned, leading up to the last episode here, we talked about how Jake was 3 for 10, was looking pretty good. Dylan Dingler was looking good. Torque was looking good. So while Torque didn't have any hits in Wednesday's game, had a great Monday, a great Tuesday, Torque still looking pretty solid. How'd pitching do? Well, newcomer Chris Paddock did great. So when they traded for him earlier in the week, it was before the Reese Olson news had come out. So I wasn't really sure what we were doing. This is a guy with an ERA around 5. Didn't understand why we were adding that arm to the team. Then you find out Reese Olson goes down and you realize they're just probably trying to get as many warm bodies in there as they can to see who are we going to be able to lean on. What a debut. 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 5 strikeouts. Dan Petrie made the point on the broadcast that this was a great opportunity to get Chris 6 solid innings and get him out of there. Let him feel good about that. We bring Hannafy in. Hannafy eats up a couple innings, flawless outing, gives up 1 hit, no runs, nothing scary. So now we're up 7-1 going into the 9th inning. We give Tommy Canley a chance to kind of work it out. Gives up a home run. So again, it doesn't cost us the game. The one on Sunday doesn't cost us, on Monday doesn't cost us the game. But we'd love to see him get a clean inning. Get him out there, get a hit, maybe 1 hit, but get him out of there without giving up any runs. But end of the day, great for the Tigers, right? They 3-0 on the week, just destroying the Diamondbacks, 5-1, 12. So they score 5 runs, 12 runs, and 7. That's 24 runs against just 5 for the Diamondbacks. Now, listen to the radio a little bit today, too, and Dan Dickerson was making the point that the pitching / defense and the hitting are tied together. So when one's doing well, the other does well. They made the point that if the pitcher's struggling and then we come up to bat and go 1, 2, 3 on 4 innings, go 1, 2, 3 on 4 pitches. Now the pitcher's got to run back out there and try to salvage it. That's tough. But when we got both going well, and even though Casey had a tough outing, which we'll get to here in the second half of the show, overall pitching's been great the last 4 or 5 games. Tarek Skubal threw great on Saturday's game. Bullpen just lost it for him. But generally speaking, pitching's been good for the last 5 games. Hitting's really come around in the last 4 games. Things are looking good as we head into an off day here before the weekend series. Take a quick break here. On the other side of the break, I'll kind of give my thoughts, my general thoughts on the week, my general thoughts moving forward as we head into the trade deadline, and then we'll do a quick touch on the Lions before we get out of here on a Thursday morning. So you are listening to the Motor City Sports Podcast, and we will be right back. Welcome back to the Motor City Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Lee Mosierak, and again, thanks for being here. We opened up today's episode talking about the Tigers. What a week it's been. 4 games in a row now they've won. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. 3-game sweep with the Diamondbacks. Offense is clicking. Kerry Carpenter's back. New guys are making a real name for themselves. Things are going great as we head into the trade deadline here on Thursday. So a couple of my thoughts on these 3 games. Like I just mentioned, the new guys. Melton and Paddock. So while this is Melton's second game, I understand the team, still relatively new, has a great outing a second time around. Paddock comes in, new guy, first time meeting the squad, has a quick meeting in the morning with Jake Rogers, it seems. They went over a couple things for plan of attack, and then he just did great. The 2 of them combined this week, 13 innings pitched, only 1 earned run, which is huge. We need guys to be able to pick up the slack. We've got Tarek Skubal, best pitcher in baseball. We know we can lean on him. When Jack Flaherty is that Jack Flaherty, we can lean on him. He's phenomenal. But Jack struggled, right? He's had quite a few outings this year that haven't been great. Casey Mize, which I'll get to in a minute, was phenomenal for the majority of the year. Lately, not as much. So what are we going to do come postseason? Remember last year, we really just had Tarek Skubal, and then it was pitching chaos, bullpen chaos every other game. And that's fine to get you down the stretch. But in the playoffs, I think it was really a struggle to be able to put up a nice, solid starter against the other team. So we want to see what can we get out of Melton. Is he a guy we can ride the wave of through the rest of this year? And it's great. Can we do that with Paddock? So again, Reese Olson goes down, which I mentioned the Casey issue, but also Jackson Jobe, Alex Cobb. Alex Cobb's doing a rehab stint now. I think he was with High A West Michigan. So if he gets a couple more under his belt, but even still, by the time he gets stretched out and can go 5, 6 innings, even 5 innings, that's going to be all of August, end of August. So we're really at a tough spot as far as pitching goes. So nice to see Melton and Paddock come in and do great. Speaking of Casey Mize, something's got to be off, right? I know they talked a little bit after the last start about some knee stiffness. Maybe that could be the problem. But he said he's not. He's going to start in the next series. He's not going to miss any time. He only won an inning and 2/3. Weird stat line that last game. Only gives up one earned run. I think it was that leadoff triple, and then he ends up scoring. But just didn't look comfortable. And going back to July 5th, he pitched 7 innings, gave up 4 hits. There were no runs. Tigers won 1-0 on a Spencer Torkelson home run. Phenomenal outing. After that game, Casey Mize ERA was 2.63. He was 9-2, I believe, heading in, going to be an all-star. He gets announced for the all-star team, starts on the 12th against the Mariners, only 3 innings pitched, 6 earned runs. Then he gets a shot at the all-star game, 2/3 of an inning pitched, gives up a home run. After the all-star break against the Pirates, 4 innings pitched, 4 runs. Just now 1.2 inning, 1 2/3, 1 run. So his ERA went from 2.63 just a few starts ago up to 3.45, and he hasn't gotten past the 4th inning since July 5th. So something's not right, right? Like I feel like this is more than just a guy having a couple bad outings. I don't know if something that knee's more tight than we think. Something doesn't feel right. The ball doesn't feel right in his hand. He missed a little time earlier in the year. I really hope they can get that figured out because I love the story of Casey Mize having a resurgent year. We got the Javi Baez story. We've got the Spencer Torkelson story. And we had the Casey Mize story, a former #1 overall pick, just like Spencer Torkelson. For years, we had all these hopes for him as our starting pitcher, as our #1 guy. And injuries and things got in the way, and he was finally having that season this year, and it was great to see. So I'm really hoping that he gets that kind of whatever he's got going on, gets it figured out, and then he's good kind of moving forward. Generally speaking, though, 3-game sweep without using your best pitcher, Tarek Skubal, and without using your highest paid pitcher in Jack Flaherty. We ran out a rookie on his second start, a guy we just traded for a day before, and then we had a guy only not even get out of the second inning, mostly bullpen. And we still managed to just wipe the floor with Diamondbacks. And again, I understand they're not a great team. I understand they're offloading a lot of talent. But again, in the last couple of weeks, I feel like the Tigers could have played the Bad News Bears and it could have been a struggle. Something was wrong with the team. It wasn't clicking, but this happens. Again, I kept saying the first 60 games of the year when they were 19 games over 500, the first 60 wins when they were still, 20 games over 500. That to me always seemed like the real team, not this weird 7-14 stretch, this weird losing 12 or 13 games. I think the version we're seeing now is them getting back on, getting back hot, looking good. So I'm happy with that. As far as trade deadline goes, what a difference 4 games makes. I was at last Friday's game, watched Saturday's game from home, and I thought, man, Scott Harris and Chris Ilitch might be afraid to do anything. This team at that point looked way more than 1 guy or 2 guys away from a World Series. The lineup looked real anemic. Pitching staff was struggling. And I said at the time, like, they can't go out and get us 6 new hitters and 6 new pitchers. The guys who are there are going to have to start performing well. And I knew they could. I'm the one saying I know they're good. They're a good team. They were having a bad week or two. But until we saw the good version of that, I was afraid Scott Harris and team would say, well, let's not rock the apple court card here. What's one guy going to do at this point? And now 4 games later, I'm almost thinking, well, do we need to do anything? Look how great this team is. Put Colt Keith over at third base, phenomenal. Move Zach over to short. I said earlier in the week I'd love to see Javi start playing center field again. Put Zach at short, maybe Vierling at third. Maybe Vierling and Colt Keith can trade off at third, depending on right-handed, left-handed pitcher. I think Javi just has a lot more fun when he's playing center field, plays better. Well, that didn't pan out on Wednesday's game. I know he went hitless, but give him a couple more runs out there. I think that's a great opportunity for him to get back to the version of him that led to him being an all-star. But Colt Keith goes 3 for 3 today. Matt Vierling's hitting in most games. Maybe the offense looks pretty good now that we got Kerry Carpenter back. My only fear is against left-handed pitching. As I've said before, AJ Hinch kind of uses Kerry Carpenter, Colt Keith in the same way against left-handed pitching. He doesn't want either one of them to hit a left-handed pitcher. And that's hard to do when they're 2 of your most important hitters. So if that's going to be the mentality, then we're going to have to get a right-handed bat that can face a left-handed pitcher. And that brings us to Eugenio Suarez, which it almost seemed like Will Vest either said, if we can't get him, no one can get him, and plunked some. Or I kind of thought to myself, maybe that was for Zach McKinstry saying, we don't need a new third baseman. You're our third baseman. and he plunks Eugenio Suarez at the end of a meaningless inning. Suarez misses the next game. X-rays are negative. They're swelling. He played in the Wednesday game, got through the whole game at DH. No real issues. As of now, it's, 6 o'clock on Wednesday night as I'm recording this. He has not been traded yet. There's still, almost 24 hours left where something can happen. But he's the one that everyone looks at, right? And it'd be great. I saw most of third basemen now. Key Bryant got traded today. I saw the Yankees already got their guy. So I think Suarez might be really the only third baseman left that people are talking about. I still think he'll be too pricey. I don't want to see them trade Melton. I don't want to see him trade anyone on the actual team right now. You're not going to see him trade one of the top 5 prospects we have in the system somewhere. So I don't think we're going to get a Suarez, but I would really love a bullpen strikeout guy. Someone that can come in and really with some force. Like when Will Vest is at 100% and the Will Vest is just an animal, we need another one of those. So Tommy McCanley's changeup, keeping guys off balance when it's working, is effective. But it'd be nice to have a guy could come in there, throw 100 miles an hour, put everyone away. Obviously not going to be Manuel Clase at this point, which was kind of a thought people had a week ago. He's done for now. But that would be the one thing I could still get behind the Tigers adding. I still think they might add a bat. I do not think it's going to be Suarez. I'm not really sure who's out there that would make an impact as far as a right-handed bat goes. Do not need a left-handed bat, but who can we get that's a right-handed bat that's not going to take valuable reps and valuable time and valuable at-bats away from current Tigers that have us in the position we are, but someone that can step in and do something maybe a little more than what a Jahmai Jones or a Justin Henry Malloy was doing, or Andy Ibanez against left-handed. We had these left-handed hitting specialists, right? So I could see Scott Harris is doing that. I'm thinking all over the board here. Like if we play a right-handed pitcher, our lineup is dominant with Riley Green and Colt Keith and Kerry Carpenter and Spencer Torkelson and Dylan Dingler. It's just a phenomenal lineup. Zach McKinstry. But when we face a left-handed pitching, Zach can stay on the ball, okay. Carey got a hit against left-handed pitching, was nice, but they usually pull Carey or pull Colt. Riley stays in there, but doesn't feel like the same Riley. So against left-handed pitching, it is a thing where right now Andy Ibanez looks great. Maybe he can keep filling that hole, but that might be a spot the powers that be decide we still need to add another bat to kind of fend off that left-handed pitching. But maybe the bullpen, same cliche. Don't think we're getting any big name starters. Don't think Paul Skeens is coming or something like that. But it's been a fun week. So much more fun watching when they're like this, and so much more fun just to know this is coming. Again, it was a little frustrating Friday. I was at the game. It was tough to kind of get excited. Saturday night watching was just a bummer. But you just knew it wasn't going to, or I knew it wasn't going to last. Local radio here in Detroit certainly thought it was the end of the world and the sky was falling. Not me. I always had faith. So it's been fun. Looking forward to the weekend here. Looking forward to the trade deadline. We'll recap some more of that on Mondays. As far as the Lions go, real quick, Hall of Fame games tonight, Thursday night, as you're listening to this. I don't have a lot of notes on it. Once I found out that they weren't playing, obviously the starters weren't going to play. I didn't expect to see Jared Goff throwing to Amon-Ra St. Brown, but I thought some of the top rookies might play. Let's get a look at that new look offensive line, the Graham Glasgow, the Tate Ratledge situation. Looks like Graham's going to be playing center as we move forward, but they've come out and said none of those guys are playing. The top rookies aren't playing. Starters aren't playing. So I'll tune in, of course, but I'm not really sure what to be looking for. A lot of these early preseason games are kind of silly anyway. They're for those lower guys on the card to get a shot, maybe a special teams opportunity. But with this, it's like, I'd like to see Tate Ratledge get out there and play, and we're not going to see that. So I'm a little bummed out about that. We'll see kind of how it goes. I'm excited to watch, excited to see football on the TV screen, but I'm not really sure what to make of it. So I'll talk more about that on Monday's podcast once I see it, kind of see how things shake out. And then once we see how the trade deadline shakes out in baseball as well, we'll have lots to talk about come Monday. But that's going to wrap it up for today. Like I said, it'd be a quick one. We talked about Sunday's game on the Monday podcast. So we just had the 3 games. No real news on Pistons front. Nothing too crazy with the Lions front right now. Still watching the Netflix quarterback series. Love that. Love the Jared Goff stuff we're seeing on that. I'll talk more about that as I finish it up. But that's going to wrap it up for now. Before I go, I want to remind everyone to find us on social media. So Instagram, Motor City Sports Podcast. Find me on Twitter /X, Motown Sports Pod. On YouTube at Motor City Sports Podcast. On Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Wherever you're listening to this, please give me 5 stars. Rate it. review it, share it with your friends, get this into the hands, into the eyes, into the ears of as many people as you can so we can get this thing to keep growing. But that's going to do it for today. So again, thank you everyone for listening. This has been the Motor City Sports Podcast. Take care, guys.